This is going to be a review of the grammar that we've learned in the first 3 quarters. So up until the time that we left for spring break, this is everything we've learned about nouns and verbs. So it might be helpful if you take out your verb forms foldable. Don't have to if you don't have it, but it might be helpful. So we are going to first talk about nouns. A noun is a person, place, thing, or concept. So in Latin, the function of a noun is determined by its case ending. Okay? A case is a set of endings that denotes the function of nouns. So far this year, we have learned about the nominative, dative, accusative, and ablative cases. Each case in Latin can denote specific reasons for case. These reasons are the function of the noun in the sentence, or how that word is being used. For example, we have the sentence, Miss McManus teaches Latin to her students on the computer. Not sure what happened there. Miss McManus in this sentence is the subject. Teaches is our verb. There we go. Latin is the direct object, meaning it is the thing that she is teaching. The students are the indirect object. They are being taught. They're receiving the direct object. On the computer is the place where the teaching is happening. If we were to write this sentence in Latin, we would get Magistra McManus Latinum discipulis computero docet. Taking this sentence part by part, we have Miss McManus, or Magistra McManus, who is doing the action. When a word is doing the action in a sentence, that means that word is the subject of the sentence. In Latin, the subject is always in the nominative case. Again, the subject of a sentence in Latin is always in the nominative case. So these are our nominative endings. Our first declension nominatives are a and I. Second declension, us and e. Third declension has many nominative singular endings, so we're not going to list them all. And then in the plural, it's long es. This one, Magistra McManus, is of course our second declension singular. Magistra McManus Latinam discipulis computero docet. So now we're going to look at Latinam. Latinam is the direct object. Okay, it's receiving the action. It is being taught to the students. Okay. In Latin, the direct object of a sentence is always in the accusative case. These are the accusative endings that we've seen so far. So in the first declension singular, we have plural as. Second, and os. Third, and long es. Of course, Latinam is a first declension noun, so we have the first declension singular am telling us that that is accusative and that that is the direct object in this sentence. The accusative can also be used with certain prepositions, which we will look at later. Alright, now looking at discipulis. So discipulis is what we call an indirect object. Indirect objects receive the direct object. So remember, our direct object was Latinam. So in this case, the students are receiving Latin. You guys are receiving some knowledge of Latin here. Okay, in Latin, an indirect object is always in the dative case. We just learned the dative case right before we left for spring break. Okay, so the dative case tells us the indirect object, or the word that is receiving the direct object. These are our dative case endings. So first declension, we have ae and long is. Second declension, o and is. Third declension, e and ibus. Of course, discipulis can either be first or second declension depending on the gender of the students. So it is the same for both. Here we have is in the first and in the second declension. Both of those are dative discipulis. Alright, now we have computero. Obviously, computer is not a Latin word. I modified that from the English word computer. I took the liberty of saying it's probably second declension, and so it is the ablative, which means it's the place where the learning is happening, okay? So you all are learning on the computer. In Latin, the place where an action happens is always in the ablative case. The ablative can also be used with certain preposition or to denote means. So like if I write this with a pencil, that pencil would be in the ablative case because it's the instrument or the means by which I'm writing. Okay, these are our ablative endings. First declension, long A and IS. Second declension, long O and IS. Third declension, short E and ibus. Computero is not a real word, but I went ahead and said it's second declension, so it is a ablative singular here. All right, we're gonna move on, talk about verbs. Okay, verbs are actions. Okay, so anytime an action is happening in a sentence, that action will be a verb. In Latin, the subject of a verb is denoted in the verb's personal ending along with the tense of the verb. The tense is when the action is happening. So it could either be present, perfect, or imperfect tense. Those are the three that we've learned so far. There are more, we'll talk about them later. Okay, present tense is happening right now. Perfect tense is a completed action in the past. Imperfect tense is an ongoing action in the past. These are our present tense endings, ost, mus, tis, und. Our perfect tense endings, isti, it, imus, istis, erunt. And then our imperfect tense endings, bam, bas, bat, bamus, batis, bant. Okay, these are always listed in order of person and number. Okay, so first, second, or third person, and then number meaning singular or plural. So the column on the left is your singular column on the right is your plural column, and then they're listed first, second, third person. So long O in the present tense would be your first person singular, S would be second person singular, T third person singular, and so forth. Okay. We're going to just look at an example verb here. We have ambulo. Ambulo is a present tense verb meaning I am walking. We know the subject is I because it's first person singular, and the first person singular subject is I, so I am walking. Okay? The way we would change that verb to other personal endings would be ambulas, you are walking, ambulat, he is walking, ambulamus, we are walking, ambulatis, y'all are walking, and ambulant, they are walking. We can also put this verb into other tenses. So here we have our perfect tense. Instead of ambulo, we get ambula, we. If you look at your verb tense foldable, you'll remember that we have v, s, u, or x added into the middle of a verb. Tells us that it's perfect tense, and then we have our perfect tense long I ending here. So in order to put this in the perfect or in the past, instead of saying I am walking, we say I walked. Okay? And this verb would change to ambulawi, ambulawisti, ambulawit, ambulawimus, ambulawistis, and ambulawerunt. Okay, that's just going in line with the perfect tense endings that are right there in front of you. So this would be, ambulawisti would be you walked, ambulawit, he walked, ambulawimus, we walked, ambulawistis, y'all walked, and then ambulawerunt, they walked. All right, and finally we have our imperfect endings. So imperfect tense, again, happens over a period of time in the past. So we denote that by using the word was. I was walking. This changes to all of the forms that are listed here. You were walking, he was walking, we were walking, y'all were walking, and they were walking over a period of time in the past. So, just to recap what we went over in this little presentation, a noun is a person, place, thing, or concept. Nouns have cases that tell their function in a sentence. Verbs are actions. Verbs have personal endings that tell who is doing the action and when the action is happening. First, second, and third person are the person. So first person I, second person you, third person he, first person plural we, second person plural y'all, and third person plural they. And we have tense to tell us when the action is happening, present, happening right now in the present, perfect, having been completed in the past, and then imperfect, happening over a period of time in the past. We're going to review this more in class, but this is just a brief overview to give y'all a little refresher because I know it's been a while. If you have any questions, leave them below.